What's up, what's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. In today's quick video, I want to discuss a couple of things in regards to the Season 4 wipe a little bit more in depth, and it's going to be the mission refresh and the insured weapon slot reset. Now, these are the things that people are the most frustrated about, or at least it seems, based on the comments on my recent video, which is when they actually announced that they were going to be basically wiping DMZ clean across the board and all of our things would be reset. But before we dive into it, if you guys do enjoy this content at any time, make sure you show your support for the channel by going down below and smashing that like button. Let's go ahead and throw an easy goal of 150 likes on today's video, as well as if you guys would like to find your way back to the channel for more Call of Duty content, make sure you do hit that subscribe button, look to that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Now, the first thing I want to discuss comes to that mission reset. Now, a lot of you out there are going to be frustrated with this just because it comes down to not having enough time to play to get through all of the missions and maybe get all of those rewards that you desire. But I do want to mention in Season 2 to 3, I think a lot of our rewards were kind of lackluster. There isn't anything that I would say you have to have outside of maybe that blueprint that you could access from going to the complex and get all of the attachments and exfil them. I don't think most of the rewards given through Season 2 or 3 through any of the factions or any of the missions are overall something that you should be frustrated about. So when it comes to the actual reset of all of the missions, the only real concern that you should have is whether or not the rewards going into Season 4, and obviously I think this is going to go into Season 5 as well, as I do absolutely think this will be the final wipe for Modern Warfare 2, and we won't see any progress resets or anything like that until we get Modern Warfare 3. Now at that point, obviously I think we will get some sort of wipe because it will be a completely new game, but I do think the DMZ experience will continue there. Again, I think with the missions itself, it is kind of overall just a matter of if the rewards are going to be worth it going into the new season, whether or not people will feel like they want to obviously go ahead and complete those. Now, I think there's a lot of concerns on people saying that they're going to have to repeat missions that they already did. I think they did a fairly decent job going into Season 2 with the refresh, making it feel like you weren't doing the exact same missions a second time. Now, obviously there were some that were repetitive, that were the exact same from the previous season, even some that were kind of similar, but overall I did feel like there were some much more fun missions going into Season 2 and 3 than there were in the original set of missions that we got. Now, this is something I'm hoping that will continue going into the new season. I'm hoping the wipe will be a bunch of new missions, things that we haven't completed. Even if they're a little bit similar, hopefully they are completely new, and we'll get a ton of new and fun things to take us across all of the maps in general. I think it would be kind of boring if we got just one faction with 5 sets of tiers and only took us to the new map. I just don't think for the people that play this consistently, that's going to be enough content to take us through an entire season, let alone possibly 2. I think that's the big picture here. I think with the way they designed the game, and I think that's the biggest problem, they've kind of designed a sense where the missions are based on the factions, and in order to add content or be able to add more missions, they feel like they have to do a complete wipe across the board, and that way they can add new rewards and add a new set of missions across all of the different factions. Now, you're going to say probably, what about Tier 6? What about adding extra tiers, or maybe including more factions? Now, I think overall adding more and more factions just complicates things, as it is kind of tied to the storyline or the lore. So adding an unlimited amount of factions, or however many factions it takes in order to add the amount of missions that they desire, and in the end I think it would just overcomplicate things. I also don't think adding tiers beyond Tier 5 would be very valuable, because I think the idea here is to make the content inclusive. So if they come out with new content in a new season and a majority of the player base isn't at that available spot to where they can actually participate in the content, they don't really feel like they're able to participate in anything that is new being added to the game. So I think that's a lot of why they choose to do the wipes the way that they do, and I think it is an issue that they kind of designed it in a way where the missions are tied to a faction that's all tied to some sort of lore, so they can't just continue adding factions and adding more at the rate that they would like to add the new missions. I think this could be an issue with design. Hopefully it's something that they can kind of format differently going maybe into Modern Warfare 3, but I think it is kind of hard for them to make anything more difficult, because tiers 6, 7, 8, whatever those missions would probably be, would overall be just entirely too difficult for a majority of the player base. A lot of people struggle in the tier 4s, and a lot of them even in the tier 5 missions as it is, but making missions that are even more difficult for those players just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think appealing to the majority of the player base makes the most sense if you're looking at it from a company standpoint. But I think this is a lot of the reasons why we see the wipes, and this is also some of the reasons why I don't think a mission wipe is all that bad. To do a ton of new things and have a ton of new experiences, it obviously gives us the opportunity, or at least them the opportunity, to implement some rewards that could be sought after and give us the chance to go for those. At the end of the day, it just comes down to what rewards they're offering more than the fact that they are actually going to reset all of the mission. Now, the second topic I want to get into is in regards to the insured weapon slot. Now, I think this is the biggest hit for majority of players, because some people work really hard or put in a lot of time and effort when maybe they don't have a lot of that to go actually unlock those slots in hopes that they were going to be able to have access to them in future seasons. I think the real miss by Infinity Ward here is the lack of communication. I think if we were going into Season 2 and they said, hey, look, Season 4, you guys can expect all of this stuff to be reset. Whatever you guys get done in this time period, don't expect to keep it past that point. I think people would be a lot less frustrated, and obviously people would have an expectation that they're going to actually lose all this stuff going into Season 4. I think the reality is here we are just a couple weeks away from the new season, or less than that at this point, and we're just now hearing that everything is going to be reset. So there are some people who maybe towards the end of the season here are putting in extra time to try to unlock those slots, expecting that we're going to keep them going into the new season, similar to even how we did going from Season 1 to Season 2, despite the mission refresh and all of the other wipes that we had during that time. So they did decide at this point they're going to wipe the insured weapon slots. My only hope here is that whatever change they're making to how you unlock these slots isn't going to be behind a paywall and is going to be significantly easier for majority of the player base to be able to get access to these slots. I think it's pretty tough when people spend a ton of time trying to get a second or third slot, and it just takes a majority of the time period they have to complete the content to even be able to unlock those, and then they don't really even get to enjoy them at the end of the day. So if you are one of those people that just unlocked your third slot like yesterday, you're not even going to get to enjoy having that third slot for even 2 weeks, which is kind of disappointing. But I do kind of get why they want to do this. It's going to limit people having their insured slots initially out the gate, kind of going to refresh the content a bit, making people have something to unlock. I don't necessarily agree making people re-unlock things as the answer to creating new content for people to explore, but I do at the end of the day kind of understand what they're trying to do. I think even with the wipes being considered, there's a ton of content to look forward to in Season 4 of DMZ. They've already provided quite a bit of content since the launch, at least in my opinion, and we're even going to probably get a new map, a set of new bosses, and obviously a ton of new missions and things to explore, and hopefully the rewards are good. I think it comes down to whether or not we have good rewards, and honestly how easy it is to unlock those insured slots, and hopefully they won't be behind a paywall. Hopefully they don't choose to do anything too crazy. Thank you guys for all support in today's video, all support on the channel. I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.